What up, Huskies? In this edition of UC Sports, I'm joined by Ryan Kim. We hope you had an amazing break, but for now, it's time to get you back up to speed on what's been going down for UConn sports.
We have updates in both men's and women's hockey, the exciting start to the Dan Hurley era of the UConn men's basketball team, as well as Gino Ariem's women's team as they continue on a trend of dominance.
We also have some quick updates on women's basketball recruiting, women's volleyball, and the Huskies football team. Let's just get right into it. UC Sports starts right now. The women's basketball team continues to steamroll the competition as they are currently sitting on a record of 5-0. Last week, the Huskies set off to the Virgin Islands to participate in the 2018 Paradise Jam. The Huskies only had to face 3 other teams, which were Ole Miss, St. John's, and Purdue. The Huskies made light work of Ole Miss, dismissing them in a 90-50 win. Next up, they faced what would be their toughest opponent in St. John's. The game was close as both teams were tied up going into the fourth. However, the fourth quarter was all UConn as they outscored the Red Storm 18-8 to ultimately win them the game 65-55. The final game of the tournament was against Purdue, and the Huskies would not be stopped as they decimated Purdue in a huge win with an 86-40 blowout, crowning the Huskies the Paradise Jam champions. The Huskies will look to continue their winning streak against DePaul at the XL Center this Wednesday. Let's take a moment to look at an update for the women's basketball recruiting. Aaliyah Boston, who was ranked number 3 on ESPN Hoops, recently announced her commitment to South Carolina. Despite the tough loss UConn faces, let's all wish her the best in her collegiate career. However, the Huskies still hold hope for the class of 2019 as Aubrey Griffin, who is a 5-star recruit, announced her decision to play for the Huskies last Wednesday. The Huskies are also waiting on the decision of number 1 recruit Haley Jones, who is considering UConn along with Notre Dame, South Carolina, Oregon, and Stanford. She will announce her decision Wednesday morning, and let's all hope she decides to bleed blue.
Now, keeping on the hardwood, men's basketball seems to have found its winning rhythm with Dan Hurley making himself right at home, at least through the short term. The team currently sits with an impressive 5-1 record, catching some early convincing wins. The only loss came to Iowa at Madison Square Garden in the second match of the 2K Empire Classic. Previous to the loss, UConn rang upset alert on then number 15 ranked Syracuse. The Huskies shot an impressive 57% from behind the arc and played competitive basketball for all 40 minutes, keeping the Orange away down the stretch behind Eric Cobb's 13-point, 13-rebound double-double. Holding momentum back home, the Huskies were no match for Cornell or New Hampshire, both whom Hurley's squad defeated handedly, putting out 91 points each night in Hartford. Jalen Adams and Christian Vital has taken up the leadership roles, feeding off of one another's energy to fuel the team's offense. Tariq Gilbert has also been a success story, officially being the healthiest he's been during his UConn career. The team returns to the court tomorrow at Gampel Pavilion against UMass Lowell. Tip-off is set for 7 p.m.
UConn's football season has finally come to an end. The Huskies finished with an overall record of 1-11, with their final game against Temple similar to the rest. The Temple Owls spoiled the Husky senior day at the Rent by blowing out the Huskies 7-57. We have Hezekiah Johnson with the story.
That's it. The UConn football season is over. They didn't send their seniors off the right way against the Temple Owls. The Owls flew away with any last hope of a W. The Huskies held a pregame ceremony where they said farewell to their 19 redshirt juniors and seniors. Among those seniors was quarterback David Pindell. Pindell set single-season records with 1,170 rushing yards and 10 rushing touchdowns for a quarterback. Pindell reflected on what his journey has been like through college football.
Out of junior college, after learning and getting to know like what football is about, My dream was to sign with a Division I school. I felt like I accomplished that when I signed here, and then earn the start spot and being able to play under and perform and show people what I could do.
Temple started things off fast with a rushing touchdown coming from Isaiah Wright 2 minutes into the game. UConn answered with a touchdown of their own to Keon Dixon. That pass gave Pindell his 19th touchdown of the season. Isaiah Wright responded right back with a 99-yard kick return touchdown, his second return touchdown in 2 weeks. Temple kept executing big plays to end the first half, but O'Neal Robinson answered the call with a gorgeous interception in what seemed like a momentum shift, but the Huskies couldn't capitalize. Temple had too much leverage and firepower, attacking this UConn team from all angles. UConn lost this one 57-7. Head coach Randy Edsall was very disappointed in the lack of urgency and pride with the future of this UConn team.
You know, this game's too hard to play if you don't love it, and if you don't love the grind, and if you don't like to be in that weight room, and you don't like to be with teammates, and you don't like to not let a teammate down. You shouldn't play this game. Shouldn't play it. And that's what we got to get. We got to get guys that love the game, that want to pay the price each and every day in everything that they do.
It will be very interesting to see what improvements Randy Edsall and this football team makes to bring back this UConn pride. Reporting from my last time at the Rent, I'm Hezekiah Johnson, UCTV Sports.
This was a season to forget, with UConn breaking many NCAA records, but not for the reasons you'd hope. National records for yards and points allowed in a season and per game were broken, with the team averaging over 617 yards and 50.4 points allowed per game. This was a forgettable season for Husky fans and head coach Randy Edsall, as he spoke about the loss of UConn pride and the type of player needed to return the program to where it was in his first stint at UConn.
There's too much pride in this program and everything else, you know. And there's going to be those guys that have been here before, they're going to be mentors to some of these guys and understand what the pride was here, because that's been lost. Been lost. You know, this game's too hard to play if you don't love it, and if you don't love the grind, and if you don't like to be in that weight room, and you don't like to be with teammates, and you don't like to not let a teammate down. You shouldn't play this game. Shouldn't play it. And that's what we got to get. We got to get guys that love the game, that want to pay the price each and every day in everything that they do. And get those guys that we had before that have a little chip on their shoulder, that haven't been enabled and entitled, and that want to work and understand what team is all about. That's what we got to find. We started that with last year with the group we brought in. Because this game ain't for the weak of heart. It isn't. And we'll go find those guys.
Hopefully this program can rebound after a tough season and get back to the ways of old for the fans that have continued to support the program. Taking over to the ice bus, well, it's skidding. Men's hockey is reeling after a winless week of games that put them under 500 on the season. Adam Huska had a rough go-around against UMass Lowell, who lit the lamp 8 times over 2 games, as UConn failed to generate enough offense to tally the wins. UConn looked for a little help from the luck of the Irish when they traveled overseas for the Northern Irish Connections Friendship 4. Facing Boston University and Yale, the Huskies were the bottom dog. In what became 2 higher-scoring games, UConn did generate some goal scoring, but they suffered defensively. Even with the goalie change to freshman Tomas Vomaka, the change of scenery to Ireland did not play into UConn's hands, as they fell in each one of those games. Overall, the team is seeking some spark to break the 4-game losing streak. They skate into Friday's game at UMass, sitting at 5-8-1. The chilly weather may have also froze UConn women's hockey, who's coming off a tough week against a few Northeast opponents. The team dropped the home-and-home series with Boston College, failing to convert a goal and being outscored 7-0. The losses dropped UConn under the 500 mark. Then, after celebrating Turkey Day, it was back to work for the Huskies, looking to turn it around against Quinnipiac in the Nutmeg Classic opener. Danica Pasqua connected for 2 goals, but UConn couldn't stop the bleeding. The Bobcats, who would respond with the game-winning power play goal just minutes later. In the consolation game of the Nutmeg Classic, UConn broke the losing skid in a 1-0 shutout victory over Yale. Freshman goaltender Sophia Carpentier-Yele turned heads with her 28-save performance to move the Huskies' record to 7-8-1 overall. The squad looks toward this weekend's matchup with Providence, hoping for the momentum to carry over.
The UConn women's volleyball team finished their season just below 500 as they finished with an overall record of 15-16. The UConn Huskies were able to celebrate their senior night with pride as they defeated Tulsa in 3-0. They then followed that with another win against Wichita State, winning in a 3-0 fashion. Their final game at Gamble was spoiled by Temple as they lost the game 1-3.
Well, that's it for this week. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at UCTV Sports and on Instagram at UCTV Channel 14, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at UCTV Channel 14 to keep up to date on all things UConn athletics. And don't forget to tune in next week for our final show this semester.
For Ryan, Kim, and the crew, I'm Justin Valverde. Have a great week, and go Huskies!